Hello everybody and welcome to this Universe Mode podcast. This is something we are going to do before every pay-per-view on our Universe Mode. Basically what it is we're going to go through the card, the pay-per-view. We're going to give our predictions, give our thoughts on the matches, and all that. And, you know, we don't have a name officially for this podcast. If you guys want to help us in the comments and pick a name, who knows? By the way, in the background, we have a 6-women tag match, triple threat tag team match going on in the background. So here we go with Backlash, which is a SmackDown Live brand pay-per-view, so it's just SmackDown Live. So let's start with our first match. What's the first match? What we're going to do with NXT and 205 Live, we're not going to play NXT. We'll do the pay-per-views, but with the pay-per-views, we'll just do what they booked. Like, for our pay-per-views, we're booking the matches. So for Backlash, she's booking the matches. Extreme Rules, which is my next pay-per-view, I'm booking all the matches. But for NXT pay-per-views, which are, you know, before Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, and all that, we are just going to go with the card that is there. 205 Live, we didn't do it this week, but we are going to start playing 205 Live. We're only going to play, like, maybe one match or two matches of 205 Live. And that, so we're not doing 205 Live this week, but next week we are definitely doing 205 Live. But that's what we're doing with NXT and 205 Live. If you want to see us play NXT, leave it in the comments and maybe we will. Maybe we will. But also, this is another thing that we want to talk about. We are planning on hopefully doing our own Cruiserweight Classic or Mae Young Classic. And how we're going to do that is we're hoping that you, anyone who watches this, make us a created wrestler. We don't care how crazy it is. At least make it look realistic. Like, don't make it freakish, you know, freaky, you know. Unless the gimmick is it's a freaky character. But for the Mae Young Classic, like, make the best looking person you can. You know, it doesn't matter. And we're going to do a tournament. And the winner's going to get a title shot and is going to be in our universe. So that's something we're going to be talking about. So let's start with our first match. Let's start with the pre-show, because there is a pre-show. We're going to have a pre-show before every pick.
So basically, there's going to be two matches on the pre-show.
First match?
The first match I think I'm going to have is going to be Brock Lesnar. Yes, he's going to be on the pre-show, and he's going to be facing Curt Hawkins.
Ooh.
Just cause,
Brock Lesnar versus Curt Hawkins. Now, Curt Hawkins has not won a match since returning to WWE. And you're thinking he's going to win. What a win it would be if he beat a former Universal Champion, a former World Champion, a former WWE Champion. What a win it would be. It would be the biggest win ever. He could go on to lose every other match in his career. But if he beat Brock Lesnar, it would be big. It would be huge. But I wouldn't put my money.
No. So the next match to end the pre-show.
Well, I do want to say one thing about Brock, which is Curt. You know, everyone's expecting this to be a squash match. Let's be honest, it's going to last 30 seconds. Why? I think a lot of people are wondering, why would you do this to Curt Hawkins? Why would you do this to this poor guy? Why would you put him in a match like that? Do you hate him?
I had somebody from Raw, actually, advise me that I should do this. They sold the idea to me. They said, you know what, Brock Lesnar wasn't really booked for anything, so like, okay, well, Brock was kind of getting upset about that, wasn't booked. So it said, you know what, fine, we have a free show. And they said, why not do something crazy and put him against somebody you would never expect him to go against? And who wouldn't you expect Brock Lesnar to be against other than Curt Hawkins? Like, you wouldn't expect that. That's what it's about, the shock factor.
And you know, when you look at Brock Lesnar, his ego's got to be flat. The fact that he's facing Curt Hawkins, that's his match? Like, he's got to feel like, what the heck, I'm being wasted here. You're not worried at all that Brock Lesnar is going to feel betrayed or, like, he's not in the title. You think, is this just a, you know what, we're going to give you that opportunity eventually, but right now we just want to see you beat some butt. We just want you to beat the heck out of Curt Hawkins. Which, poor Curt Hawkins, by the way. Poor guy. You know, all the guy has done is wanted to win a match. and he's facing Brock Lesnar. This is on the pre-show, by the way, so you will see this free. Well, you're going to say the whole thing free. But the pre-show, I mean, that's crazy. So what's the next pre-show match that we got going on Backlash?
Okay, it is Elias versus Shelton Benjamin. So basically, whoever wins this match will maybe, something could change with this, but they could at some point get a U.S. title shot. They will be in the contending for it. So, more of like, if they both do terrible and they don't really do much, then I won't. But if they do awesome and they really just show me what they're made of, show me what they can do, and I'm impressed with how they fought, then hey, title shot at some point.
The thing about these two guys is you got a veteran in Shelton Benjamin who's been in the WWE, who just recently returned to the WWE, but it's been in the WWE for a long time, since like 2002 or 2003, I think he made his debut. This guy has won a lot of tag team championships. He's won continental titles, some U.S. titles. Elias hasn't won much, if anything at all. So you gotta feel that, is Elias at a disadvantage knowing that this is a veteran in Shelton Benjamin who's been to the top when it comes to being Intercontinental Champion and such, and being Tag Team Champion? Is there any pressure for Elias to win?
I feel like
he's been talking all big, like he's this big deal.
I think it's one of those things where if he doesn't win, he has an excuse. People can say, oh well, Shelton Benjamin, been there, done that. He, knows how this works. Elias is, hasn't been in this business as long. But if he wins, he can really use that and say, hey, I beat this guy.
Here's the thing, too.
Really, Shelton Benjamin has
a lot of people are saying that Shelton Benjamin doesn't look the same. He's not the same that he used to be. Like, he's not that high-flying, crazy, like he's kind of, I think the age has gotten to him. And I think that with Elias versus Shelton Benjamin, the key here is, can Elias keep Shelton Benjamin from flying, from high flying? Can he keep him on the ground? Because Elias, he's very good, and he's very sneaky, and you gotta be worried about him when it comes to it. Will he cheat in this match? Will he break the rules? He's willing to bend the rules. We know that, Elias. But here's the thing. This is on the pre-show. This is a pre-show match. The winner possibly getting a U.S. title match. Are these two guys, do you look at these two guys and think these two guys could be WWE champions? Do you look at both of these guys and think they could be WWE champions? None of them have. But do you look at those two guys and think they're going to be WWE champions in the future?
Maybe not at this point. But if they are able to, show me what they got, and if they, if one of them, whoever wins, if they get their title shot and they do good, and they win, if they can win the U.S. title, then hey, maybe they can win the WWE title. If you've won one thing, it's not that hard. You think.
They gotta climb the ladder, essentially. They gotta climb the ladder. Shelton Benjamin, you could argue, has, proven himself. But this is the pre-show. It's two pretty decent matches right away. So the way we're talking about these matches, it's not guaranteed that this is the order they're going to be in. But we're talking about these matches in the order we have it written on our piece of paper. So what is the next match, the first match of the Backlash show, main show, that we talk about?
The first match, which I am actually planning on having as the first match, is going to be Heath Slater and Rhino versus Breezing, which were the losers of my other contender matches on SmackDown. So, basically, whoever wins will get a title shot.
I'll be honest, as someone who doesn't care for either tag team, who thinks that both tag teams are overrated. Why would you give... These guys are losers. You're giving losers an opportunity to win. Like, these guys shouldn't be getting this opportunity, if I'm being honest.
But I'm not going to stick with two guys, two tag teams.
Well, they should earn it. They should have to earn it by beating the good tag teams, not facing each other. Because both of these teams, as far as I'm concerned, don't deserve a tag team match. They lost. They didn't prove themselves. Do they really deserve it? I mean...
But who knows, once they're in that environment of, hey, we could win this. We could win the tag title. Maybe they get a little, something brewing within them that makes them just want to win.
Here's my thing.
And here we got the winners of this Survivor Series match.
Oh, the Iconics. This would be a good match if it happened. Speaking of the Iconics...
Yes.
Actually, before we go into that, I do want to have one point about Heath Slater, Rhino, and Breezango. These are two guys that have basically used their tag team as comedy. They've been comedy acts.
Who?
Their entire
both of them?
Both of them.
Yeah.
They've been comedy acts.
Yeah.
To me, that isn't tag team champion quality. Because they are just comedy acts. I look at both of these tag teams and I think, yeah, they're funny. Yeah, they have their moments. But again, it's just comedy. They're just comedy acts. They're a comedy act, and I don't believe that they deserve to be where they are right now. Now, maybe I'm wrong, and, this match could be good. It could be very good. I could be completely wrong, and they could prove me wrong at Backlash. But, to me, they're just a bunch of comedy acts. Nothing more, nothing less.
Well, with that being said, we're going to move on. This one is actually not the next one on our paper here, but it's kind of the last match, and I feel like it's not really worth being the last match we talk about. That is going to be a women's match, which is going to be the Iconics versus Asuka and Sasha Banks. So it's going to be a tag team match. Asuka and Sasha Banks are going to join together, and we'll see if they can actually work together. I feel like they're two people that really have pretty strong egos. Sasha Banks does say she's the boss, which, you know what, if she wants to say that, that's okay. She is a good wrestler. Asuka, I mean, let's be real here, she's got to have some sort of pride, which in a way she deserves to have because she is so good. So we'll see if they can put that aside and really work together as a team versus the Iconics.
Let me tell you why I don't think this is going to work. And why I think the whole Asuka-Sasha Banks thing won't work. First of all, Sasha Banks' ego is so huge. How do you expect her to work with anyone? How do you expect her to work? Like, the Iconics are perfect together. They work together great. They aren't about, they're not about, getting the upper hand. They're not about, I have to get the upper hand over my tag team partner. They're about they share the win. They share the happiness, the opportunity. Sasha Banks wants everything for herself. She does not want to share anything with Asuka. She probably wants this pin. She probably wants this win. She wants to be women's champion. She doesn't care about Asuka.
But does Asuka want that too?
I'm not saying... Now, as I've said, I'm scared of Asuka. She's scary. And the thing about Asuka is she's so damn good that she could single-handedly probably beat the Iconics. And I'm saying this as an Iconics fan. She could single-handedly probably beat the Iconics. She has before in NXT, by the way. So, I look at this, and I say this. To me, Sasha Banks' ego is going to get in the way of her and Asuka teaming up. And that's going to cost them the match. I think the Iconics will win, because I think Sasha Banks will cost them. Now, we actually never did give our predictions for the other matches, so let's go back. We both agree Brock Lesnar's beating Kurt Hawkins. With Elias and Shelton Benjamin, I have to go with Elias. I just think that he has proven himself over the years to be better, and that's just how I feel. Breezango versus Rhino and Heath Slater. At least Rhino and Heath Slater have proven this. So they've won a tag team title. So I'm going to go with them. For this match, I'm going with the Iconics.
Okay, so for me personally, I would definitely say Brock wins the first match.
I mean, let's be honest, of course he does.
For me, see,
by the way, in the background we have a 6-man cruiserweight Hell in a Cell match. That'd be nice if that happens.
So for the Shelton Benjamin and Elias match, you know what? I'm gonna choose something different, and I'm gonna say Elias. I'm gonna say he somehow pulls it off. I might be wrong here, but I'm gonna go
I don't
with
think
him.
you're wrong. I agree.
And I think with the Heath Slater and Rhino, as much as I do love Breezango, Heath Slater and Rhino, so I'm gonna go with them. And for the Iconics match, I'm just gonna go with simply the better wrestlers, which are Asuka and Sasha. And I think
they might be the
better.
I'm not going to dispute that they might be the better wrestlers. But how do you expect those two to work together? I mean, I don't get. That's like putting The Miz with who's a very egotistical wrestler. Like that's like putting The Miz with Dolph Ziggler. Like there's no way that works out. Their ego is so horrible. And Tony Nese is showing us how many abs he has. And I'm a little disgusted, to be honest with you.
What about, I feel like he has a big ego.
Tony Nese has a big ego. That's no issue right there. He has a big issue. Whatever that means. Alright, let's go to our next match. Our third match of Backlash.
So, the next match I am going to talk about is our tag team title match, which we found out on SmackDown would be the B team versus the Bar.
Now you know how I feel. You know how I feel about the Bar. The Bar, to me, is the best tag team in wrestling today. And the B team, to me, is just a joke. Like, they're two jokes that didn't work out, who have tried to live up to their father's hype, but they haven't. To their father's greatness, and they weren't able to. To me, the B team, like, they're the perfect, and the funny thing is they're the perfect match, because they're such failures and losers, but that doesn't mean they're good. To me, the B team is going to get schooled, and they're going to get beaten. The Bar ain't messing around. To me, the Bar, they've won so many tag team championships over the years.
In other words, you think they're going to win that?
I think the Bar are going to win this match.
That's your prediction?
That was my prediction weeks ago. The Bar is winning this match.
That is my prediction as well, is that the Bar will win. Unfortunately, I would not be surprised if this might be a squash match. But I think ultimately the Bar will win. But anything.
Here's the thing about the Bar. They don't mess around. First of all. They, you try and joke around with them. Yeah, people can say, oh, they lost to a kid. No, they didn't. They lost to a 6'9", 6'10" monster and a little child. Okay? Anyone would lose to a man that's that size. I don't care if he had a child as a tag team partner.
The thing, is that we're not talking about any child here, though. We're talking about Nicholas.
But to me, the B team is equivalent of a child.
To
me, the B team is two Nicholas.
I think Nicholas is above the B team, really. I think Nicholas is on a whole different level.
I mean, you can say that, but Nicholas, to me,
I think so.
By the way, Nicholas will not be making an appearance at all in our Universe mode. Just to stay clear. That's fortunate, actually. Because screw that kid.
Fortunately.
That kid can screw off.
I don't know. But all I can say is that
the Bar have this match.
Well, you know what? We get it that you love the Bar. Let's go. The next match, which is going to be the women's match, which unfortunately I'm really disappointed with, which is going to be Alicia Fox versus Natalya. And I love Natalya. But this was not what I wanted for my first women's title match.
Mm-hmm. By the way, I'm pretty sure I'm in this match, and I haven't been playing because the controller has been vibrating. So we are going to quit this match while I set up another match. Tell them about the next match.
So we're not going to talk about, are we talking about Alicia Fox right now?
Oh yeah, we are.
Yeah? Alright. So, basically for this match, like I said, whoever wins will get the title. Of course, this is something where the last time we had our little battle royale, was it? And Alicia Fox and Natalya were in the end. We didn't get a winner, and the winner was going to be able to pick the stipulations for the match, but nobody won.
So it is just a normal match.
No, I am going to be picking what happens.
Okay.
But that will be revealed at Backlash.
Here's the thing about this match. This was not a match anyone asked for. Let's be completely honest. Much respect to Natalya and all that, but Alicia Fox, as I've said, she is crazy. She is mentally just, out of it. And that's scary sometimes. Like, actually, you know, when you think about it, Asuka's scary insane. Alicia Fox is just insane. But that could be worrisome, because that tells you that Alicia Fox might be willing to go to any end, anywhere to win this match. So, Natalya, yes, you have the experience. Yes, you know, you're a submission specialist. You've done a lot of good stuff submission-wise. Yes, you've won the women's. If we see Alicia Fox walk out of Backlash, the new SmackDown Live release.
So is that your prediction?
That is not my prediction. I do believe Natalya will win, but I'm just saying, don't be surprised.
And I also think Natalya will win. I do feel like it's one of those things where if Alicia Fox were against somebody like Sasha Banks or Becky Lynch or Asuka, I feel like she would not have great chances. But I feel like being against Natalya, she might have a shot. So,
and the thing is, like, Alicia Fox, who needs this more? To me, Alicia Fox is in a situation where she might need this win more than Natalya, because Natalya's won enough. She's won a lot, enough where, you know, if she retired today, we would look at her as one of the top women wrestlers of all time. If Alicia Fox retired today, we wouldn't even, she'd be an afterthought, because she has done nothing. She's won one Divas Championship, and that was back in 2010. So, for her, she needs to start winning championships. She needs to start proving her worth. And proving that, hey, I'm just as good as Natalya. I'm just as good as these other women's wrestlers on this brand. So give me a chance. Let me show what I can do. And tonight, at Backlash, she's going to show us what she can do. Whether that means her winning or her losing, she's going to show us what she's made of. Alright, what is the next match on the card?
The next match we are talking about is the Cruiserweight title match, which is going to be Cedric Alexander versus Drew Gulak.
Now this match, we have seen these two guys tussle before. We've seen these two guys fight. But when you look at these two guys, the difference between these two guys is Cedric Alexander has his high-flying thing. He does all his high-flying moves and all that, but Drew Gulak doesn't do that. That's why he has his PowerPoints. My favorite part of 205 Live is his PowerPoints. And that's why I watch 205 Live. It's the PowerPoints. And
you mean like presentations you do in school?
Yes, have you never watched 205 Live? First of all, Drew Gulak does not do high flying. He's not a high flyer. He submits. He makes you tap. He makes you quit. He's not about, his fancy little moves. He's about making you quit, and making you lose.
Personally, I am a huge fan of high flyers. I can appreciate all forms of wrestling, the submissions, the big, powerful guys like Braun Strowman, who's one of my favorites, as well as those who are high flyers. That's my personal favorite. So guys like Cedric Alexander, I enjoy watching. That's the thing about wrestling. It's so much more than just beating your opponent. It's also about putting on a show for the fans, and I believe Cedric Alexander can do that, and I think Drew Gulak can as well.
I mean, and yeah, that is what wrestling is about. It's entertainment. It's about putting on a show. But here's the problem with high flyers, and I've said this before. I said this to someone. You see it once, it's incredible. It's one of the greatest things you've ever seen. Like I watched the Cruiserweight Classic. That was the greatest thing I've ever seen. But then once you've seen it, 6 times, 7 times, 8 times, it's like it's the same old stuff. It's not as exciting. They need to, and how do you improve that? You can't improve 450 splashes. What, you do 820 splashes or whatever? You can't improve that. You can't improve a twisty, 3-twisty suplex. You can't. That's not a move, but if that was a move, you can't improve that. So the problem is the difference between Drew Gulak and Cedric Alexander. Cedric Alexander does the same old crap. You see the same old stuff out of him. The high flying.
You see the same stuff.
No, you see different things with Drew Gulak because he doesn't rely on his jumping and his I have to jump over the ropes, 3 times in a match, and you also have to look at the danger of doing this high flying because Drew Gulak isn't risking himself. He isn't risking himself doing a submission move. But Cedric Alexander doing those crazy jumps off the turnbuckle or through the ropes, he is risking his career a lot of times. And I think Drew Gulak would be okay with him doing it.
Some of the greatest wrestlers do that.
Yes, and some great wrestlers get hurt and get injured from doing that. So high flying is fun. It's one of the funnest things ever in wrestling. But as a high flyer, you got to be careful.
Yeah.
Because you want to make the necessary risks, but you don't want to take too many. You don't want to make a risk because I can do it. You got to be careful with it. You got to make the calculated risks. And be sure that you know that it's going to work, because that's the thing with high flying. It's not guaranteed that you're going to land it. It's not guaranteed you're going to jump off the turnbuckle and land on your opponent. So a lot of time they're going to move out of the way. And then what are you going to do? Your stomach's going to be red as hell, and you're going to be hurt.
But also there's a risk with anything in wrestling. You are literally beating up somebody. Your chances of getting hurt are already high enough when you step into that ring, whether you're high flying or not.
But no, we know that. It's obvious. But what I'm saying
why not
is,
put on a show? If you're gonna get hurt, put on a show.
Drew Gulak doesn't care about putting on a show. He cares about winning, and I think that's what it's about. Cedric Alexander, if he wants to put on a show, who cares? Whatever, do it. But Drew Gulak's here to win.
But if you keep on winning and winning and winning, but you're never putting on a show, who's gonna want to watch you win? Because if you're not entertaining them, fans are going to start not wanting to watch.
That's the business. That's the reason for the business. You're doing it to win. You don't care. I guarantee you Drew Gulak could give one heck about any of these fans. I don't think he cares. If the fans don't want to watch him, fine. They'll find some that do. If all the fans want to see is high flying and all that, watch Lucha Underground.
I think it's more than just that, though. It's just putting on a show of anything. Personality, just doing what you do, whether it's high flying or submission or whatever, doing it with passion and just with personality. Put on a show no matter what kind of moves you're doing. And that's what it's about. It's not just about winning.
I think it's about winning, to be honest. I mean, yeah, putting on a show there's a lot of guys that want to put on a show for fans, and that's great. No. But you're here for one reason, and that's become the world champion. In Drew Gulak's case, it's to become Cruiserweight champion. And he can't try and, be all nice for the fans and do everything the fans want, because then he's going to lose focus on the real point. And the real point is he's got to win that Cruiserweight title. And if he, goes by what the fans say, he's not going to win.
But without those fans, would he be there?
I think there's a lot of guys.
Would these wrestlers be where they are if nobody watched? There wouldn't be a business if nobody watched. Because they wouldn't have money. Right? So they wouldn't even be able to put on these shows. That's why you gotta keep the fans entertained. Keep bringing in money. And I feel like high flyers can do that with the cool moves that they do. They can put on shows and bring in fans and make them actually want to watch a match and sit through it.
But that's, again, to me it's about winning. Winning is the main. That's how you make your money. Kurt Hawkins probably makes the lowest paycheck of anyone.
AJ Styles just kind of this.
AJ's known for that. But as I said, with the Cedric Drew Gulak match, you really gotta look at who has more heart and who has more intelligence. You know, who is smarter in that ring? Because they're both pretty smart, but who is able to counter? Because this is going to be a great match. This might be match of the night. I'm putting my money on it that this could be match of the night. But I'm also saying that there's a lot on the line in this match for Drew. You know.
So here's the question: who do you think?
I gotta go with Drew Gulak. I think the high flying is gonna come back to bite Cedric Alexander eventually, and it might just be in this match.
I am going to go Cedric Alexander. I think he'll be quite close. So the next match that we're going to talk about is actually I'm going to switch around the WWE and US title matches because I have the WWE one wrote first, but we're going to talk about the US because the WWE title match is going to be an event. So, let's talk about the US title match, which is actually going to be a 6-man. What? So,
this card sounds very familiar to Raw. Is SmackDown Live GM, you know, looking through the script?
What? No, I want to include as much talent as I can. So, in this US title match, I've got Tyler Bate versus Shinsuke Nakamura versus Bobby Roode versus Bray Wyatt versus Samoa Joe and versus Ty Dillinger.
Here's the thing with multi-man matches: anything can happen.
Yeah.
You know, you can't count out anyone. And let's look at all 6 of these guys. You know, you start with Tyler Bate. This is a young guy, very young, very young. You know, he won the UK tournament. He won the UK championship. He lost it, but he won it. And you know, he's been in NXT for a while. This is his first taste of Monday Night Raw, or SmackDown Live, his first taste of the main roster. And this is his first big match. Like, this might be the biggest match of his career so far.
Especially if he wins the US title.
Even if he loses, it's a big match. Like, because it's showing he's getting exposure. People are seeing this kid. They're going to see what this kid can do. And it's just going to make people want to see this kid more. And Tyler Bate does not have as much pressure on him as everyone else. Because Tyler Bate doesn't have to win this match. He's still young enough where he doesn't have to win the world title right away. He's not, you know, AJ Styles, who came into WWE at the age he did and needed to win the world title as quickly as possible, you know, because he didn't have many years. This is a guy that he could wait 5 years until he wins his first title and he'd be okay. He doesn't need to win it right now. And if he does, then dang, good for him. He's
one of those things where I have watched Tyler Bate. One of my favorite takes is actually Mustache Mountain. Part of the reason why is because of the mustaches and mountains, but because Tyler Bate is so fun to watch. And I think being in this match, he's going to be just as fun.
Yeah, you know, you can't argue with Tyler Bate being a very good professional wrestler. You can't argue with Tyler Bate being a fan favorite, because a lot of people like Tyler Bate. And the difference between him and Cedric Alexander, Tyler Bate doesn't show off, in the sense of he does the flippy moves to be like, oh, look at what I can do that he can't do. No, he does his moves, but he does it with, pizzazz. He does it with, this type of, confidence that, he's not showing off, but he's showing what he can do in the sense that he can win. And I look at him and I think that he reminds me a lot of William Regal. In my opinion, one of the best technical wrestlers in WWE history. Never won the world title, but he reminds me a lot of William Regal. I think that in the sense of this guy's the next big thing when it comes to the UK. We have never seen someone from the UK win the World Heavyweight title. This could be the first time we see it. In the sense of, all that. We've seen, obviously, Sheamus. He's from Ireland. But it's going to be incredible. And then you look at Shinsuke Nakamura. This is a guy that has changed his attitude ever since WrestleMania when he lost to AJ Styles. Everyone sings his song and all that, and then he changes his lyrics and it upset everyone. Let's be honest, everyone was upset. But you know what? That's what he needs to do. Shinsuke Nakamura all he has done since coming to the main roster, before he decided to change his attitude, was lose. He kept on losing to Jinder Mahal. He lost to AJ Styles. He didn't win the Rumble. That was great. But then he changed his attitude, and all of a sudden, he wins the U.S. Championship. He does all this. So I think with this new attitude, he is a different guy, and I think you got to look at him as one of the favorites going into this match.
Definitely my personal favorite for this match, in a sense of who I think will win.
Definitely. Shinsuke, definitely.
Let's talk about Bobby Roode.
Yeah, Bobby Roode. He calls himself glorious. But you know what the thing with Bobby Roode, in NXT he had this ego about him. He had his song and all this, and he talked about how he was so great and all this, and then he comes to WWE and then he starts listening to the fans. He comes to the main roster and all of a sudden he's for the fans. I think that change has hurt him more than helped him. Because what has he won since accepting the fans' appreciation and all that? What has he done? He's lost, But when he was a guy who didn't care what the fans thought of him, he was winning the NXT title. So to me, this is a guy that, might need a change of attitude and might need to just go against the fans and do his own thing.
NXT is a bit better than
no doubt.
The thing is that there's a lot of guys who are already established wrestlers and who are kind of always being pushed. So you got these new guys in, and they might have been wonderful, and they want to utilize them. So I think, Bobby Roode, maybe he just hasn't gotten his time yet because he's being overlooked, because of all the other guys. So this is maybe his opportunity to say, hey, I'm here, use me.
And the thing with Bobby Roode is, he's a veteran. He's not a WWE veteran, but he's been wrestling all over the world. He's been wrestling, in TNA and all that. He was a former TNA World Heavyweight Champion. I know we're not allowed to technically talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it. He was a former TNA World Champion. So he did a lot in TNA. He dominated in TNA. But this is different. This is the big leagues. This is the top company. This isn't TNA. But, I have confidence in Bobby Roode. But I think once he unleashes that, that anger and all that fierceness and says, screw the fans, he's going to be a top guy in this company. I think the fans are holding him back.
Okay, let's talk about Bray Wyatt now.
Ooh. This is a guy that needs a reality check because, this whole Wyatt family, Sister Abigail gimmick, it's not working anymore. He keeps on losing. This guy seems to be all he does is lose. People talk about Kurt Hawkins, but this guy, every pay-per-view it seems he loses. And you would think a guy like this, a guy that's as good as this, as mysterious, as creepy, he would win more matches. And, he didn't win the WWE Championship. You can't take that away from him. as a superstar. You cannot take away the fact that he was once a WWE champion. He once was the face of the company. But then he lost it in a month to Orton and never got it back. And then he lost to Matt Hardy. And then he joined Matt Hardy in a tag team and then all that. So, to me, Bray Wyatt might need to choose a different path. Because this whole Wyatt family, I think he needs, as I said, he needs a reality check. He needs to just stop with the creepiness, stop with the weirdness.
Come back down to earth.
Come back down to where you were. You know, be more serious. And the thing is, you don't have a Wyatt family anymore. He should have stopped once the Wyatt family left. He should have stopped and was like, you know what, I'm going to do things differently. But he didn't. And he lost his Wyatt family. Ever since he lost his Wyatt family, he has not been the same person. He lost Braun Strowman, which was a huge loss because we all see how Braun Strowman is. He's one of the best WWE superstars in the WWE right now. He's the biggest star I think we've seen, the biggest rising star we've seen since John Cena.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where
and
it's
then
not just the WWE pushing Braun Strowman, the fans love him, and they want him.
And the other thing is that, you know, he lost the Bludgeon Brothers. He lost Luke Harper. Randy Orton joined and just tore that place apart. Eric Rowan was injured. He was out. You know, the Bludgeon Brothers are doing their thing. They've won a tag team title. To me, Bray Wyatt has not been the same since he's lost his guys, lost his Wyatt family. That is his family. You're never the same when you lose your family. You know, once you lose your family, it's like you're never the same. You can't put the pieces back together.
The thing is they're still out there. Like, they're still there. They're just not with him. So, like, he just has to look and see how his family is doing. See that, you know, the Bludgeon Brothers are doing great. Braun Strowman's doing great. Even Randy Orton, you know, he's still Randy Orton.
You wonder if he needs to start a new family. You wonder that. And, you know, there's been a lot of rumors and a lot of talk about his actual brother, Bo Dallas. He's in the B team, but in my opinion, is he the best thing for Bo Dallas? Because the B team is crap. It's a joke. Him and the Wyatt family might revitalize his career and might revitalize Bray Wyatt.
But the thing is, I feel like Bo Dallas is probably kind of used to being within a roof, in his garage, the B team.
He's in the social outcasts.
Yeah. So it won't be much different for him to go into this Bray Wyatt. Yeah. Like Wyatt.
But let's go with our next guy, which is Samoa Joe.
And unfortunately, the guy who we have demoted to NXT won. Don't ask why we didn't take him. You know, personal reasons.
But with Samoa Joe, he is the submission specialist. He's a submission machine. The guy, you know, you look at what he did to AJ Styles. You know, the horrible crap that he did to AJ with his wife. You know, it's just disrespectful. It's one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. And, you know, it's funny because, you know, a lot of people say, oh, well, this, that, the other thing, what?
Maybe Samoa Joe should join the Wyatt family. I feel like he's very similar to them. Mind games, you know, doing that kind of creepy stuff. That's kind of what he was doing too. I feel like they would get along, you know?
But here's the thing with Samoa Joe. This is a guy that does not give a damn. Like, woo! You want to talk about a guy that does not care, hasn't given a damn about anyone else's opinion. And that's how life is. You shouldn't give a damn about what people think of you. You should be able to be like, you know what? I don't care what they think about me. I'm me for a reason. And that's what Samoa Joe is. He does the things he wants.
He's just a sociopath for, you know, a reason. Like, it's okay. Here's the thing. What he's doing is not okay. I just don't agree with that.
Okay, did he take some things too far? Yes. The Undertaker has taken things too far before. Stone Cold Steve Austin has taken things too far. And you look at what they've done. You look at how far they've gotten into WWE. So maybe it's perfect. Maybe that's what, Samoa Joe needs to do, is to take things a little too far and bend the rules as they say. To me, Samoa Joe is a favorite in this match, and I think that if you're expecting him to lie down and not win this match, you're in for a rude awakening, because this guy is going to do whatever he can to walk out of Backlash as the new United States champion.
So let's talk about the last and final guy, Ty Dillinger, the perfect 10 as he calls himself.
Perfect 10, honestly, he hasn't done anything that's given him the perfect 10 yet. Like, this guy, he was nothing in NXT. He didn't win anything. And then he comes to the main roster, and again, he hasn't done anything. Like, to me, Ty Dillinger is the weakest wrestler in this match. He has zero chance compared to the other black guys. And, he's a fellow Canadian. I respect that. As a Canadian, I respect that. But I can't respect the fact that this guy has been brought up to the main roster over a bunch of other guys who deserve it more. Ty Dillinger, to me, is still an NXT superstar. He never proved himself in NXT. He hasn't proved himself in WWE, in the main roster. I don't see why he was given this opportunity. And that's just me.
I can see how you feel that, yeah. So, let's talk about the final match, shall we?
Yes.
We've got the WWE title on the line for somebody to win. It's out for the picking. We've only got a 4-man match, another multi-man match, as I said we were going to have on SmackDown, lots of those. We have Braun Strowman versus Rey Mysterio versus Finn Balor and versus AJ Styles. I personally feel these are possibly 4 of my best wrestlers on my roster. I do believe there are other people up there with them, like Shinsuke and Brock Lesnar, yes, and lots of guys like that. Not to take away from them, not saying they're 5th and 6th, but these guys are definitely up there. Who's the first? Who's the best? Kind of hard to say, but they'll have to show me who is the best out of these 4.
Here's what I say. When you look at these 4 guys, let's start with Braun Strowman. This is a guy that started his career in the Y family. He's a strong man. Mm-hmm. He's been in strongman competitions. The guy's strong. Yeah. He might be stronger than Mark Henry, who is known to be the world's strongest man. But Braun Strowman, when he came to WWE as one of the Wyatt family, no one thought he was going to be anything. Everyone looked at him as like, oh, this is another Great Khali or whatever. Who, not a lot of people thought he was going to be big. No one. Well, let me take that back. He is big, but no one thought he'd be, big in the sense of he'd be where he is today. Uh-huh. This is a guy that's taken his opportunity and just driven it to the sky and just has done every good thing there is. He has not won a WWE or Universal Championship, but he's gonna. And that's the thing. You can bet your money, you can bet your bottom dollar that this man right here, Braun Strowman, will be world champion. Whether that's at Backlash, a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, he's gonna be champion. And to me, he is the brightest star, the biggest star in WWE history since John Cena.
Possibly in many different ways, the biggest.
He is the biggest. And Braun Strowman, since the draft, the first draft that happened, he's really just evolved into this just monster, just monstrosity that is Braun Strowman. He's become, he's been hated by fans, he's been loved by fans, but there's one thing you can't deny about Braun Strowman, is the guy is great. You gotta respect him. You gotta respect what he does, because if you don't respect him, then you might be in some trouble.
So, do you think he is at an advantage? Because he's going up against Rey Mysterio, Finn Balor, 2 really small guys.
AJ Styles is pretty small.
AJ Styles is not that, he's not as small as the other guys, but he's still
and here's the thing.
Not Braun Strowman's guy.
I look at Braun Strowman's size. Remember, they don't have to pin Braun Strowman. They don't have to beat Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
They could pin, AJ Styles could pin Finn Balor.
But this is a guy that can tip over Semi. And
of course.
He runs over guys. Do you think they're going to be able to control the monster? To be able to get the pin on
The only strategy that I think works is teaming up. And I don't think they can do that because I think, again, I'm one of these guys
really, the Shield has tried to team up against him, and he can just hold.
But that's not my point. My point is more of the egos.
Yeah.
The egos getting in the way and being, it's about. That's why you look at Royal Rumble matches, Elimination Chamber matches, Money in the Bank, you never see two guys working together. Because they're not, their egos are too big. Yeah, they turn on each other after a minute. Their ego is too big. So these three guys might work together and be like, all right, let's take up our show. But the moment they can, they're turning on each other, and that's all through the roof. That's all through.
There can only be one.
And that's why they can't team up, and they won't team up. Braun Strowman, they're going to just have to hope that...
I think really let somebody else go after him. Let them focus on him.
That might be the best strategy. Just stay away.
And then try and get that pin as quickly as you can.
Stay as far away from Braun Strowman.
You're there.
And the other thing about Braun is, he's got a lot of... a lot of people have said that his opportunities have been taken away from him. Like, all of his opportunities have been stolen from him. Were rightfully taken away. When he was Mr. Money in the Bank, a lot of people said he was screwed out of the title.
Oh, yeah.
And all this. And, I agree. Like, this guy should have been Universal Champion months ago. And I think he's got a lot of pressure on him to be like, you know what? I'm going to dominate. And I think Braun Strowman is going to beat the living hell out of these three men. And that's why these three men should almost back out of this match just so they don't have to face him.
But also you could say, what does Braun have other than his strength?
And if you're these three men, you're hoping Braun Strowman doesn't win. Because how the heck are you getting that title off of him? There is no way. It's like Brock Lesnar when he was champion. Who the hell was getting that title off of him?
Yeah, and we don't have Brock Lesnar is, of course, probably the one who can contend with Braun Strowman most.
But then who can contend with Brock Lesnar?
Like Roman Reigns, who they're always putting against. What other big guy do I have, or do you know, that could go up against these? Because there's a lot of guys who aren't that big anymore.
Because let's be honest,
where are the big guys?
Finn Balor, AJ Styles, Rey Mysterio, they're not beating Braun Strowman one-on-one. They're not. So they are hoping, if they don't win the title...
Get to him before he gets to it. I gotta give it...
Here's the thing. You're hoping that if you can't win the title, then if you're AJ Styles, you're hoping if you can't win the title, then Rey Mysterio wins. Or Finn Balor wins. Because you can beat them one. AJ Styles can beat both of those guys one. You can't beat Braun Strowman. So that is why all three of these men should be hoping Braun Strowman does not win this match. So if you see Braun pinning someone, you should hopefully get there as quickly as possible to stop that pin.
So, who do you think is at the advantage? Who do you think?
Rey Mysterio. His size. He's a veteran in the ring, but...
Great wrestler. Your girl was learning stuff. But you'll be happy Ronda Rousey went out a bit, So...
Rey Mysterio to me, because of his size, he's probably the smallest man in this match, and I think he's going to get picked on in this match. I think all three men are going to look at him and be like, he's the smallest guy, I can take him. So they're going to go after him.
I feel like Ray, you got Braun in there, he's going to stick out like a sore thumb. They're going to be like, we need to get this guy. So I think Ray can maybe just kind of hang out, I feel like Finn Balor might be at the most disadvantage here because he's small too. And I feel like Rey Mysterio is a great wrestler. He's my absolute favorite wrestler. I might be biased, but I personally feel like he can deal with it. I feel like he's smart enough in the ring and he can deal with it. I don't think his size is ever small.
The thing with Rey Mysterio is he's a veteran. He's won the world title before. He's done it all. He's won every title imaginable at this point. he's been in the WWE long enough. You know, he left the WWE back in like 2013 or whatever, 2014, and then he returned at the Royal Rumble. And we haven't seen him yet. We haven't seen him in a one-on-one match since returning to the Royal Rumble. So this is the first time we're going to see him in action since then. So you wonder, is there going to be rust? Is there going to be ring rust since he hasn't wrestled in a WWE ring since the Royal Rumble, which was a year ago, essentially? And he hasn't... And the Royal Rumble isn't a one-on-one match. You don't technically have to wrestle. You just have to survive. And you don't have to... Yeah, because that was the first match. That was the match he returned in. What I'm saying is, this is a fatal four-way match. You have to wonder if there's going to be some ring rust with Rey. And I wouldn't be surprised if Rey Mysterio doesn't have ring rust and he shows everyone what he can do, still do, because he is in his, 40s, 50s? So he's not a young guy anymore. He's not, the young, small Lucha Libre he used to be. And I think he's going to take a lot of pride in this Lucha Libre thing. I think that he's going to take a lot of pride in that, and I think he's going to, use all that to his power. And the thing with Rey Mysterio is that he is the most experienced and the most prestigious of the four men. He's won more titles. He's been in WWE longer. He's done that. So that might be an advantage for him. But I do think he's at a disadvantage being the smallest guy and also being the veteran. Because these young guys might look at him and be like, oh God, that guy's been in WWE for a long time. He knows what he's doing. We got to get rid of him. Mm-hmm. Braun Strowman is the obvious one. You got to get rid of him.
Personally, out of all the guys except for Braun who can beat Braun, I'd say AJ probably has the best chance.
I don't even think AJ could beat Braun, and that's just how good Braun is.
Yeah, I'm not saying he could for sure beat him, but I feel like out of Rey Mysterio, Finn Balor, AJ Styles, I feel like AJ could probably match up better with Braun Strowman. I don't think Braun Strowman is necessarily unbeatable. I feel like they just need to be smart about it. They need to figure out, what is going to, break it.
Well, that is what it is. But let's talk about Finn Balor. A guy that he has, there's one thing that he has over everyone, every wrestler. And that is he was the first ever Universal Champion. No one else can say that. No one else in the WWE can say they are the first Universal Champion ever. This man can. Now, obviously, he was only champion for a day because he had that injury at SummerSlam that, had forced him to, give away, relinquish the title. This is a guy that hasn't, some people say he hasn't been given his opportunity yet. He hasn't been given his rematch. He hasn't been given another opportunity to regain the Universal Championship or a world title. But this is his opportunity. Maybe it's not in the type of match he would want, in the sense that it's a fatal four-way and not a one-on-one match, but this is his opportunity. I think the thing with Finn Balor is that he has those hot streaks where he's just on fire, and then he's just dominating, and then sometimes he's getting beat, the living crap beaten out of him. And I think in this match, he needs to be on a hot streak. He needs to put in everything. He needs to give 100% in this match, because Finn Balor, to me, is the wild card. He is the wild card of this match, because in my opinion, he's the least likely to win. Because, yes, he's won a Universal Championship. Yes, he is a very good wrestler. But as I said, he's the least likely to me to win this match. But again, it's very possible he could win this, and it wouldn't be a surprise, and it would be very deserved if he won.
I feel like all of these guys could win. I feel like Braun Strowman, because of how strong he is, and because of how big and scary he is, a monster on the ring, I feel like he has the best shot, but I feel like really all four of these guys have a good shot.
Yeah, let's talk about AJ Styles for a second here. AJ Styles, probably has had the greatest debut in the sense of being a new superstar of WWE. Like, when it didn't take them long at all to win the WWE Championship since debuting at the Royal Rumble a couple of years ago. And he's won it 2 times. He won two WWE Championships. And in my opinion, and some people might disagree, he is the greatest wrestler in the world. CM Punk says he's the best in the world. AJ Styles is the best in the world. That is what I think. And that's WWE Champion for the 3rd time in his career.
You know what? I personally, feel like it's between AJ and Braun, but I'm going to go with Braun.
By the way, we didn't pick our U.S. champions matches. I'm going with Samoa Joe to win the U.S.
I am going to personally go with So that is actually it for what Backlash will be.
Yes, it will be a big pay-per-view. It's our first pay-per-view of 2K19 Universe Mode. It's a huge deal. It's a huge deal. We want this pay-per-view to be as good as possible. There's going to be a lot of action. A lot of great matches. Pretty decent pre-show. But grab some popcorn, grab some chips. I don't care. Get ready to watch this show because it's going to be a fun show. There's going to be a lot of action at Backlash. And it's the first SmackDown Live pay-per-view. And by the way, in 4 weeks is the first ever Raw pay-per-view, Extreme Rules. We will obviously be doing Backlash today. So thank you guys for watching this podcast. Again, if you guys have an idea for what we should call this podcast, leave it in the comments below. That would be great. By the way, we are thinking of doing a Mae Young Classic or a Cruiserweight Classic, and for that, we need you guys to create wrestlers for us. And we'll figure it out. Maybe we'll make a video later, announcing it. But we want to do that for our Universe Month and all that. So, thank you guys for watching the podcast. Backlash is going to be a great show. It's going to be fun. But thank you guys. We will see you soon.
See you.
Bye.